Well, hello, mateys. How's it going? So, in light of all the accent classes we've been doing the last few weeks, I'm going to weigh in on the accent process. And it's been great studying with those of you that have been doing it. I have a new appreciation for learning how to speak in all these accents, which is quite difficult and it takes a fair amount of training. So, glad to be on the road to doing that. And for any of you, you're welcome to join us at any time. It's all levels. Anyways, I'm going to walk through some of the things I've learned and try to give you a truncated version of doing accents in your kind of first baby steps into playing the character. So let's start with Russia. So if we are talking about Russia, we want to go more monotone and slow it down. So we want to go more monotone and slow it down. That's the first step. And I can also lower my pitch. So we want to go more slower and slow it down. So that's where we can just go into a Russian pretty quickly by just lowering our tone and being more of a robot. And then they also have some things like instead of their V's are like VW. So instead of vodka, it's vodka. And instead of what, it's what. So we might say, what are you doing? In Russia, I would say, what are you doing? Slowed it down, more monotone, and I've thrown the what are you doing? And like many of the other other accents, languages, um, th is a z, so it's not this or that; it's this or that. So I could say in Russia, what is this? I could go, what is this? And it's quite simple. So that's Russia. Let's jump over into Italian. Italian's another kind of an easy one because you can just add A's to whatever you're saying. So if I said, "Do you like my dress?" I could say, "Do you like my dressa?" So we just whatever you're saying, whatever you're saying. How is the weather today? How is the weather today? Add an A before, add an A after. Obviously, they're kind of passionate. Maybe you do this with your hands. Anything that will kind of get you into that, they're passionate, kind of intense people with a rhythm. But that's a good cheat sheet for you. So there's Italy. I'll go quickly to French. French, they have voice coaches have a thing called oral posturing. So the way you position your mouth, I've talked to some of you about doing British, which we'll do in a sec. But in French, you can pucker your lips a little bit, pucker your lips and talk with your lips instead, and it kind of encourages it maybe of such accents. I do not know. I do not know. It's just a bit more of a French accent. So the puckering is helpful with French. Again, their THs or Zs. They don't pronounce their Hs. So how do I get to the hospital becomes how do I get to the hospital? Now, when we're doing these languages or accents, and you end up speaking a lot, you're going to come across all kinds of words that throw you off, which is what we've all been experiencing in class. But again, this is about baby steps and just doing the one thing that can anchor you in Russia, slow it down, lower your pitch. And then French, you can go into the mouth maybe a little more with a little air. And Italy, it's like, hey, what does this mean? Okay, great. So there's three. Let's go to Australian quickly. Australia, we say I, they would say oi. So a lot of the I's in Australia are actually oi, like I rode me bike. Okay. Um, Interestingly, in English, we American English, we say butter, like you spread on toast. If you think about it, we're saying a D actually. We're pronouncing it Budder, butter. And now that's how Australians say, but Australians don't pronounce R's, so they say butter. So I'm going to ride me bike to pick up some butter, and I've already kind of going into I'm going to ride me bike to pick up some butter. Um, and it's interesting with the word butter. If you say butter, if you use the T, you're starting to go a little bit British because they might say, "Oh yes, it's some fine butter. I'm going to put it on me toast." Um, so these are some of the subtle nuances. Okay, so that's those a bit of Australian, and now I guess if we, for oral, back to the oral posture concept. If we go into British, as I've mentioned, a lot of you, if you relax your mouth don't move your lips a whole lot and relax your tongue, you'll start to find a little bit of a British accent maybe coming out like this, yes? And maybe the British one you want to play, for me, I'm playing the cliche higher status. So in Australia, they're going to be like, come on in, mate, and grab a beer. They're going to be more aggressive, or an Italian's going to be more passionate. But a Brit might be a little bit more reserved, a bit higher status. Yeah, come on in, mate. Let's not get too close. We've got some tea over here, and we'll make this quick. You could think about the stereotype of the character, and they're not moving their mouth a whole lot. Keep your tongue quite flat, and you end up with a little bit of a British accent going on here. Your mouth, whereas in English, we're a lot more animated with our mouth. Australians are going to be more animated. In Brits, you maybe go with a little bit of a quieter mouth. You can also find your Australian here if you keep your mouth a little bit down as well. So there's British. What else? New York. We'll finish with New York. New York, you can always just do the, hey, why are you busting my balls, Vinny? Come on. They, instead of TH, they say D. So instead of this or that, it's this or that, this or that. Hey, what's it going to be? This or that. And then they don't, so some of their R's, I think if the R is after a vowel or something like that, you don't pronounce it. So instead of verse, V-E-R-S-E, you say voice. Hey, she had a real nice voice. And what else is there? So if we take the TH and the R and put it in a word like 33rd, they would say doity doid, because the TH becomes a D, and that instead of verse, it's voice. Hey, he said a nice voice. So 33rd becomes doity doid street. So hey, Vinny, and obviously you can kind of think about the cliche Brooklyn type of a thing, but the D's, so is it going to be this or that? I'm going to meet her over on doity doid street and get off my case, all right? So these are the types of things we've been doing in class. Come join us. We're going to have a full another week. The classes have been flying by the way, guys. It is incredible. We're doing about 45 minutes on the accents. I cannot believe how quickly it goes by. We'll usually do like 3 or 4, and we're doing almost like a storytelling. We'll go over some of the basics, and then we'll go right into someone will just initiate with any line of dialogue. Hey, it's a hot day outside, and then the next person goes, and we listen to the last thing said, and we respond, and we're really just trying to find the accent. Incredibly awkward. And again, just like improv or any new thing that we're learning, it's awkward until it starts to become more comfortable, and repetition's a really big deal there. So there's a quick accent crash course. We've got classes all week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm sorry, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're doing a good 45 minutes of accents, and then we're doing scene work. In fact, a couple of the classes we did purely accents, and then we did scenes with the accents, all of which is to say it's very helpful to on a number of reasons. So when you do speak with an accent, it animates the character and the point of view so much that if you can really get the accent down, you also check a lot of the other boxes in improv that when you're just playing yourself, maybe a little harder to inform your own character or your own attitude. Anyways, peace out, everyone. Hope everyone's doing great. Love you all, and I know we'll see you down the road. Later, Gators.